Good morning, baseball fans, and welcome to a wet and rainy Saturday morning here at Nicolay Field in Adrian, Michigan for Game 8 of the NCAA Mideast Regionals. Adrian College versus the Roche Redhawks. Robbie Alexander here to take you through all the action with my colleague and color commentator, Cody Alexander. It's going to be a great day here, weather permitting. Still cloudy and rainy as the lights are on at the stadium, but it looks like we'll have a good window to get at least a few in this morning, as this game was pushed from last night. It was going to be a late start either way after the Ithaca-Otterbein game went late. It was going to be 9:30, and the weather that was currently happening plus the forecast pushed it back, but Pierce Banks now towing the rubber, and we are set to begin as Redhawks left fielder Jonathan Spina stands in the batter's box. Winner's bracket, and the first pitch. Fastball that's high, 1-0. Thank you all for joining us here on day 3 of the Mideast Regionals. Second pitch from Pierce Banks. That one finds the inner part of the plate. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Banks, a second-team All-MIAA selection. The sophomore has 11 starts on the year, 6-2 record, 2 complete games, and 64 2/3 innings pitched. He has struck out 58 batters, walked 30, and owns a 4.73 ERA.
You got Spina to swing through that curveball, but he got a piece of it. Looks like it might have got catcher Frankie Resto on the hand. Umpire Lyle Travis will give him a second.
Yeah, I might have caught that one a little weird, kind of moving the thumb on his glove hand, so it might have just jammed him.
He gives the nod to say he's good to go. Not the way that you want to start the game if you're a catcher. You know you're going to get dinged up, but 3 pitches into the game, not ideal. 1-2 is the count on Spina. He was 1 for 5 in the game against Ithaca. That took place Thursday afternoon. The 1-2 check swing almost hit the on-deck batter Professori. Count stays the same. One-two pitch. And gets him swinging at the high cheddar, but the trap snaps shut for out number 1. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Joe Professori, 2 for 4 in the first game of the tournament. The La Roche lineup looks like this. It's Spina, Professori, Qualero in the 3 spot, Roebuck, Hoffman, Novak, and then the bottom 3, Melendez, Urban, and Trickett. Professori up in the count now, 1 ball and no strikes. The pitch from Pierce Banks. Big cut there, 1-1.
Well, Professori has reached base in every single game this season. Brings into the game a .380 batting average, a .470 on-base percentage, has 39 runs batted in and 41 runs scored.
And he snaps that one in there. 1-2 now on the designated hitter. The pitch. Fouls that one off towards the back 40, and it stays 1 ball and 2 strikes. La Roche won game number 5 against Ithaca by a score of 5-1. Adrian took theirs by a score of 11-5. That's how these 2 teams ended up in the winner's bracket.
And really 2 different games as La Roche convincingly beat Ithaca, like Robbie said, by a score of 5-1 in the driver's seat for the entire game. Meanwhile, Adrian had a back and forth with Otterbein, surrendered a 3-run lead in the 4th and 5th innings, where eventually got down 5-3 and then came back in convincing fashion in the last 2 innings to get a 6-run win.
And once again, Pierce Banks dusts them off with the high cheddar. 2 quick strikeouts. And up to the plate is the second baseman, Gino Qualero.
Some interesting names on this Roche lineup. To get some help from their SID on the pronunciations.
Especially Qualero. We've had some trouble with that one.
I think we mispronunciated it the entire first game, so we apologize.
Yes, there's a silent I in there. 1-0 is the count on Qualero. The pitch. Check swing, foul, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's twice now that we've seen breaking balls on the inside part of the plate to the hitter where they start their swing and end up having a check foul.
Well, defensive element looks like this for the Bulldogs. Frankie Resto calling the signs behind home plate. Hunter Hayes at first, Brady Wood at second. Duncan Darnell holding the bag over at third base. Jordan Torreno playing up the middle at shortstop, and in the outfield left to right, Rainey, Sharing, and Richardson. As Banks will cover the bag on the ground ball to Brady Wood for out number 3. And the Redhawks go down in short order. When we come back, it's Adrian's first at-bats of the morning. And we'll see what they can do. Keep it tuned right here to Mideast Regional Baseball here on ACTV. Welcome back to game number 8 of the Mideast Regionals. Adrian versus La Roche. Still a scoreless game as we head to the bottom of inning number 1 as Bulldog center fielder Zach Sharing steps into the batter's box. Nick Tunstall toes the rubber today for the Redhawks. The first pitch. A strike at the knees. No balls in, 1 strike.
Tunstall recently named to the AMCC All-Conference 3rd team. He's got a 7-1 record in 10 starts, 11 total appearances. In 57 1/3 innings pitched, he has struck out 52, walked 20, and owns a solid 2.51 ERA, which is actually 2nd in his conference.
Fastball misses outside. 2 balls in, 1 strike now on Sharing.
Actually the leader in ERA for the AMCC was the man on the mound that we saw in day 1 in Trey Thomas.
Ground ball over to Trickett at third base. Routine. Out number 1 on Adrian. deck now is the left fielder, Gunnar Rainey. Rainey 1 for 5 in the game against Otterbein on Thursday night. Like we said, they took it by a score of 11-5 after scoring 8 runs in the final 2 innings. They trailed going into the top of the 8th, scored 3 off of the Otterbein closer, and then would score 5 more in the 9th. The 1-0 at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Otterbein knocked out yesterday by Ithaca in a 12-inning heartbreaker. Looked like a routine ground ball that would end the 12th inning. The shortstop ended up slipping on the turf, and Ithaca ended up winning it on an infield RBI single.
Like we said, weather playing a factor into yesterday's later games. Looks like it's going to play a factor today as well. Saw a couple slips out on the mound. The one in the warm-ups by the Shenandoah pitcher. That took him out. He had to go off the field for a couple seconds to regain his composure and change his shoes. Fell straight on his back. It's a fiberglass mound under that turf, so there is no give with it.
Well, they have it covered with a tarp when there is inclement weather, but we showed up this morning. We saw the Adrian staff actually using a leaf blower to dry it off.
And that one falls in the hole. Nice attempt by Qualero. He cuts it off, but it'll be an infield single for Gunnar Rainey.
Like a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate that Rainey just waits back on. It was actually a little off the plate, so just kind of reaches out there and is able to tap it.
I'll bring up the number 3 hitter, Brady Wood. 3 for 6 in Thursday's game with 3 RBI. He led the Bulldogs. And a big RBI double in that 8th inning.
It looks like Roebuck might have gotten a turf chip in his eye on that one.
Either a turf chip, or if he wears contacts, maybe that came loose, but I think you're right. The way he's looking, gonna squirt some water in there to try to get it out.
As we've mentioned throughout this tournament, Nicolay Field an all-turf field, including the addition of a fiberglass turf mound this past offseason.
The Bulldog lineup looks like this morning. Zach Schering leading off, Gunnar Rainey in the 2-hole, as you just saw. Brady Wood up to bat, but after that, it's the first baseman Hunter Hayes in the 4 slot. Dugan Darnell hitting 5th. The designated hitter today is Thursday's starting pitcher and the Bulldogs ace, Tommy Parsons. In the 7-hole, right fielder Tristan Richardson, Frankie Resto in the 8-hole, and rounding everything off is shortstop Jordan Torrento. Looks like Roebuck has got the turf out of his eyes, and we are set to regain this game. 1 ball and 1 strike on Wood. Going outside. Roebuck thought about going to first. It's 2-0 now on Brady.
Yeah, Rainey getting a pretty big secondary on that pitch. Only about 2 to 3 steps off the bag with the lefty on the mound.
He'll throw over to first to keep him honest. The 2-0. Just a bit outside. 3 balls and no strikes now on Wood. Rainey short lead over at first. The pitch from the lefty. No one finds the zone. 3-1 now. Crowd slow to come into Nicolay Field, but starting to gain some momentum as the stands are starting to become full. Wood skies a pop-up on the infield. Hoffman will haul it in for out number 2.
Well, it is Saturday, and You have to have a lot of dedicated fans to wake up to watch a 9 o'clock ball game on a weekend. We are glad to see a fairly moderate crowd out here so far. I'm sure we'll see more as the day progresses.
Up now is the heavy-hitting first baseman, Hunter Hayes. 1 for 5 in that game on Thursday, and he rolls a grounder to trick it. A long stretch by the first baseman, Melendez, but he stays on the bag. A little bit of an errant throw turns into some flair for out number 3. We'll head to the top of the second inning, still scoreless. And we'll be back with more NCAA baseball on ACTV. Top of the second inning here in game number 8, still scoreless. Pierce Banks takes the mound once again. 4, 5, 6 due up for the Red Hawks, starting with their catcher, Shane Roebuck. First pitch, fastball inside part of the plate for strike 1. Roebuck 0 for 1 in that game against Ithaca, scored a run, had 2 walks. 0-1 pitch. Big cut there. Quickly in a hole now. 0-2. Fastball stays too high. 1 ball in, 2 strikes now on Roebuck.
The junior backstop hitting .354 coming into today's game. 32 runs driven in, 30 runs scored. Also has 12 doubles and 3 home runs.
He fouls that one off of his shin. Count will remain the same, and we've seen that quite a few times in these past 2 days.
You were saying not a great start for Resto, who kind of jammed his thumb on a foul tip. Roebuck in the last half inning got a turf chip in his eye and a ball on the turf. Now taking one off the shin, so already both of these backstops having a little bit of a rough game.
We'll see if he can bounce back here. The 1-2 pitch from Banks. A bender, and he gets some window shopping for strike 3. As he paints that outside part of the plate. One down, and that will bring up the shortstop, Austin Hoffman. 2 for 4 in the game against Ithaca, scored a run. And the first pitch. Fastball just misses outside. 1 ball in, no strikes. Another fastball. This one paints the outer black. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, we've talked about the wind through this tournament so far. Right now, virtually no wind as those flags are sitting stagnant. And I think that's the first time we've seen that, not only in this tournament, but all season.
Kind of helps the temperature here. Not too cool, just really a humid, damp sort of day.
That one fouled back towards US 223. 2-2 count now on Hoffman.
The first 4 batters of this game, Banks really pounding that inside part of the plate, mixed it outside a little bit. But with Hoffman, he's gone outside, I think, every pitch of this at bat.
We'll see what he does here. The 2-2 ground ball right back up the middle. It's a 1-out single for Hoffman. Redhawks trying to get something cooking here, and it's the right fielder, Jay Novak, who looks to keep the string going. One hit apiece so far for both sides. First pitch, just below the knees for ball 1. Novak, 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored back on Thursday. He brings that one up. 1 ball and 1 strike now.
Novak hitting .356 on the year, which is a common theme. Redhawks as a whole hitting .344 coming into today. He's also driven in 42 runs and scored 34.
Pickoff move to first, close. Roebuck back in time.
Also has 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 round trippers to supplement a .487 slugging percentage.
1-1. Curveball hangs high. Roebuck off for second throw from Resto. And right on the money. Resto showing off the golden arm for out number 2.
Well, Hoffman 7 for 7 on steal attempts coming into today. That's the first time he was caught. And he really didn't have too great of a jump. Resto kind of mishandled that pitch, had a double clutch just to get the grip back, but he fires a strike and gets Hoffman easily at second.
2-2 now is the count. Pitch to Novak. And he swings right through that fastball. Strikeout number 4 on the day already for Pierce Banks, and the Redhawks get a man on, but he's fired out at second base and again set down in short order. When we come back, 5, 6, 7 due up for the Bulldogs. Keep it tuned right here to ACTV. Bottom of inning number 2, still scoreless here. That's the third baseman, Dugan Darnell, up to the bat. And on the on-deck circle right now is the big man himself, Tommy Parsons. Now, we've seen a lot of two-way players in this tournament, but I can assure you, Parsons, I don't think he's had a single at-bat in college.
And I think I can confirm that Parsons has not stepped to the plate yet in his career.
0-1 pitch to Darnell. Ground ball over to the second baseman. Qualero has it. A little bit of an errant throw, but Melendez is able to hold on to it for out number 1. Parsons gets about 10 feet to the batter's box. And Rainey quickly calling that off. They'll put in Jason Croce to hit for him. And Cody, talk about that strategy, because we haven't seen it yet this season or in this tournament from Coach Rainey, but apparently it's something big in a couple of SEC schools.
Yeah, he's seen it at Mississippi and Mississippi State. Of course, Parsons is not going to hit. He is the ace. They don't want anything to happen to him. So what they do is they put a person in the game, in this case Parsons, who they know will not see the field, as Parsons threw 143 pitches in his game on Thursday. So depending on the situation, they can kind of tailor who they bring in as the DH. If they want a finesse guy who can lay down a bunt, or if they want somebody who can hit the ball hard. In this case, nobody on base, so they decided to opt with Croce. But it's all just a little strategy game, a little more leniency, and they can tailor their designated hitter for the first at-bat for what the situation is.
Croce puts that one right down the left field line. He's taking a big turn for second. The throw not in time. And in his first at-bat of regionals, Croce laces a one-out double.
Not quite sure if Parsons would have been able to do that, but I'm sure in the dugout right now he's telling everybody that he would have hit it out if he was up there.
There's a little mystery behind the man. Like I said, it got about 10 feet from the batter's box, and Rainey said don't get any closer. A good laugh right there. The Bulldogs, something cooking now. A man in scoring position with only one out, and it's the right fielder Tristan Richardson up the bat. So that first pitch is sent into shallow left center. Spina is going to call everybody off and make the catch for out number 2. Lining up defensively for the Redhawks. Roebuck calling the signs behind the dish. Melendez at first, Qualero at second base. Elmo Trickett holding down the bag at third, Hoffman at short. And in the outfield, left to right, it's Spina, Urban, and Novak. With 2 outs here, the catcher Frankie Resto up to bat. First pitch. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes. So far, Tunstall doing a good job pounding the strike zone. Not a lot of first pitch strikes, but he's come back to a lot of times get them in a hole as Resto. Big swing there, 1-1. The 1-1. A little bit outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Resto 2 for 3 in Thursday night's game. Had an RBI, also walked before being taken out at the end of the game to put in Nick Bell.
Yeah, Resto got things started in the 8th inning. Coach Rainey put in a pinch runner for him. That runner eventually came around to score. Resto now 2-2. Comes in with a .314 average. Hit over 300 his junior year as well. His first 2 seasons, a little bit of a lighter hitter, hitting right around 250, 260, but has figured things out. Not a big power hitter, only 1 home run on the year and in his career. Has 5 doubles and 3 triples, but the big thing about Frankie is when he doesn't try to do too much and just tries to put the ball in play, he usually gets rallies started with just base hits up the middle or to the right side.
See if he can do that right here. The 2-2, high and outside. Full count now on Resto. Tunstall trying to leave that man on second base. Payoff pitch to the senior sign giver. Ball high, and Resto draws the 2-out walk. So that will bring up the number 9 hitter for Adrian College. It's the shortstop, Jordan Torrento.
Torrento 1 for 5 in the game against Otterbein. He scored a run, also drove one in.
First pitch. That one right to the second baseman, Qualero. Gets it on a hop. Melendez almost has to dig it out of the turf, but it's out number 3. The Bulldogs get 2 on, but leave them stranded. And we'll head to the top of the third, still scoreless. We'll be right back with more NCAA regional baseball on ACTV. Bottom of the order due up for La Roche. Starting with the first baseman, Jonathan Melendez. Redhawks have a hit so far. It was thrown out at second base trying to steal. That was Hoffman. So far, Pierce Banks has worked through the bare minimum. First pitch to Melendez. Ball high, 1-0. Melendez 1 for 4 in the game against Ithaca. He had 2 RBI, setting the pace for the Redhawks. The 1-0. Another fastball runs in. 2 balls in, no strikes.
Melendez, 371 average on the year, has driven in 38. Scored 32, 11 doubles, 6 triples. That is tied with Professori and Spina for the team lead.
2-1 is the count. Few people starting to head out to the center field hill. We saw an awning out there last night. Still no couches to be seen. With it being a Saturday, we might see a few people haul some out. As another fastball runs in. 3-1 now on Melendez.
Well, the awning was a smart idea. If visitors want to visit the hill to watch a ball game, they might want to bring some cover out there again with the rain due.
3-1 pitch from Banks. In the zone, full count now. Banks setting his own pace in this ball game. The payoff pitch. Owen fouled back into the parking lot. Still 3-2.
Banks throwing a great game so far, but it's right around the 4th, usually the 5th inning where he starts to run into trouble. So we'll see how he progresses throughout this game and if he can avoid that one bad inning that he seems to run into.
He gets Melendez to send a pop-up on the right side, but foul. Melendez putting up a battle here in the top of inning number 3. Field playing deep here with no outs. Payoff pitch again, and he dusts him off. So he goes fishing for the off speed. 5th strikeout of the day for Banks, and there's one down. That'll bring up the center fielder, Dylan Urban. Urban was 0 for 4 on Thursday. Still looking for his first hit of the tournament. He did score a run. And he watches a first pitch fastball in there for strike 1. Curveball catches that inside corner. And it's 0-2 now.
That breaking ball really working for Banks today. Throwing it up in the zone, down in the zone, kind of favoring it inside, although that last at-bat we saw him go down and away with it.
Let's see what he decides to do here. The 0-2 pitch. Trying to paint that outer black, but can't do it. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sun trying to peek through the clouds here on this lazy Saturday morning. Urban sends a foul ball towards the back 40. Still 1-2.
He still has some room to work with in this count. We'll see if they want to try to bury a curveball here.
Throws the curveball, hangs in the zone, but Urban gets under it, and it's a fly ball out to the center fielder, Sharing for number 2 in the inning. So it's the number 9 man now, the third baseman, Elmo Trickett, up to bat. Trickett 1 for 4 in Thursday's contest. The first offering from Banks hits the outside corner, 0-1, and Pierce really having a good command of the strike zone so far. Oh, 1 pitch. That one outside and in the turf. 1-1. One pitch. And he goes fishing on that outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Another thing I've noticed from Banks today, really being methodical with how long he waits to throw a pitch.
Really not a bad pitch thrown yet. Banks a lot of late life on that fastball, a little bit of sinking action. He can run it in on the right-hander. But today really favoring that breaking ball, and he's been throwing it for strikes all day.
Well, with a 1-2 count, what do you think he's going to do right here?
I mean, he's been going to the breaking ball. He hasn't really buried one yet. We'll see if they want to go up and in with a fastball, but I think he'll go breaker.
He does. Right back up the box. Torreno ranges up the middle. Long throw. Pulls Hayes off the bag. And Trickett is aboard here with 2 outs. They're going to rule it an error. E6 on Torreno. So still only 1 hit for Roche, but they head back to the top of the lineup.
Yeah, nice job by Torreno ranging up the middle. But that's the 3rd errant throw that we've seen combined by these teams today. So not sure if the turf is still a little wet. Maybe that ball is slick once it hits the ground.
And Spina sends a fly ball into right center field. Schering tracks it and will make the catch. So the Red Hawks put a man on with 2 outs but can't bring him in, and we'll head to the bottom of inning number 3, all knotted up at nothing. And don't you touch the clicker. Maybe get yourself a cup of coffee so you can wake up. We'll be right back with NCAA Regional Baseball on ACTV. Well, you hear the PA announcer, David Van Giesen, right there. Leadoff man Zach Schering up to the plate, grounded out to third base his first time up. First pitch shows bunt, but will pull back. Watch a ball go by.
Tunstall worked out of a little bit of a mini jam the last time the Bulldogs were up to bat. Surrendered a 1-out double to Croce, but able to get a pop out and a ground out. Tunstall actually faced the Bulldogs when they faced each other a couple weeks ago. Got the win in that ball game. He went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, but none of them earned, as the Red Hawks committed 4 errors in that game. He walked 2 and struck out 1.
He paints the black right there. 1-2 count now on Zach Schering. The pitch. He gets him with that off speed. Strikeout for Tunstall. There's 1 down in the inning now. So up now is the left fielder Gunnar Rainey. Infield single his first time up. A nice attempt by Qualero. Couldn't get the throw off. The first pitch from Tunstall. Low and outside for ball 1. It's really working that third base side of the rubber. Rainey hits that one into the netting, and he flinches. Did you get a flinch?
That was a little too high to do anything for me.
My heart jumped.
Really?
Internal flinch. It's still early. Still early, trying to rub the sand out of our eyes. Late night for us. We weren't out of here until about 10:30 in a quick turnaround. So just as all of you are at home trying to wake up We too are doing that in the booth, getting ready for another exciting day of NCAA regional baseball.
They did supply muffins and donuts. That was a nice little surprise right before first pitch.
That one off of the facade on the Roche side. 2-2 on Gunnar Rainey. He's going to get some more pine tar on the bat.
And really, we've been blessed with a fairly nice spread up here in the box the last 2 days. And this morning, like I said, donuts and muffins for the crew. Yesterday they had chicken wings. The day before that, pizza. Well, I'm excited to see what we have today in store.
Well, you grabbed my donut for me. An apple fritter. Was not expecting the apple filling, but a pleasant surprise. Rainey sends that one straight into the Roche dugout. A big cheer.
Looks like somebody made a catch down there.
And that's a wake-up call for the Red Hawks.
Getting a standing ovation from the Adrian dugout as well. I wonder who it was down there that had the quick hands.
Not only a standing ovation from the Bulldogs, but a nod and a laugh from the home plate umpire Lyle Travis. 2-2. Outside, Rainey works the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Payoff pitch from Tunstall. That one right back up the box and through. Rainey aboard with his second hit of the ball game. That'll bring up the second baseman Brady Woods. Skied a pop-up to the shortstop his first time up.
Bulldogs now a base runner in every inning so far. Just unable to get that big hit. Let's see if Wood can get him over, maybe a big hit. He had a big double in the last game.
Not only the last game, but a big double in the MIAA championship game. Give the Bulldogs a 3-2 lead in the 8th inning. That's how they found themselves playing today. The 1-0 pitch. That one at the letters. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Wood, the leading hitter for the Bulldogs, a .417 average. 14 doubles, 3 triples, 1 home run. He's driven in 34 runs and driven in 32.
1-1 pitch. The ground ball to the shortstop. Hoffman to second for 1. Relay. And a nice stretch by Melendez to finish off the inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. And we'll head to the top of inning number 4, still scoreless. We'll be right back here on ACTV. Professori, Qualero, and Roebuck due up for the Red Hawks here in the top of inning number 4. Still scoreless as Pierce Banks looks to continue to cruise through this Roche lineup. Professori struck out his first time up. He'll call time. If you're just joining us, game number 8 here of the Mideast Regional. Robbie Alexander joined by my colleague Cody Alexander. After last night's game got pushed back to this morning due to weather. Now that has shifted the rest of the scheduled games for today. We'll only play 4, which means tonight's game number 12 being pushed to tomorrow at some point. Every game thereafter will be played within half an hour of the final out, which means whenever this game ends, game number 9 will come up half an hour after. Now there is weather scheduled to wreak havoc on us once again this afternoon. That's in the forecast, so we will keep you updated during the broadcast and on our social media pages. Banks can't locate that curveball. 2-1 now on Professori.
Yeah, rain's supposed to move in between 2 and 3, it looks like. So the plan is to play 4 games today, but I think the real plan is to try to get these first 2 games in before that weather moves in, and then get a nightcap game in, so that way they would have 3 games today and possibly 4 tomorrow.
Well, the game after this is an elimination game. That's Ithaca versus Shenandoah. Tentatively scheduled for noon. That's when we're guessing this one should end, although it's cruising right now. Scoreless through 4. Another curveball from Banks. That's another ball. Full count on Professori. Payoff pitch. That's going to hang high. A leadoff walk for Professori. Up to the plate is the second baseman, Gino Qualero. Grounded out his first time up. Roche won game number 3 on Thursday by a score of 5-1 against the Ithaca Bombers. Scored early and often, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. Would score 1 more insurance run in the 5th. Trey Thomas would hold the Bombers to a single run, and that's where they would stand. Qualero sends a fly ball in the left field for out number 1. The catcher Shane Roebuck up now, struck out looking his first time up. One of 5 Red Hawks to strike out in this game. Professori, healthy lead over at first base. Pitch from Banks. Curveball, this one at the belt. Snowballs and 1 strike.
Banks only 1 ground ball out so far today, but if he can induce one right here, he might get a 2 for the price of 1 pitch.
So he'll try a pickoff attempt. Safe at first is Professori.
Bulldogs have turned 25 double plays so far this year as a team.
Looking for 26, the 0-1, that one fouled back. Down in the count now, 0-2 on Roebuck.
Light's still on, but getting a little sunny out here now.
Sunny, but darker skies to the west. Off for second is Professori, the throw. And Frankie Resto, 2 for 2 on the day.
Oh, he had only four runners caught stealing out of 38 on the year, so not his greatest year throwing. That might be a reason that the Redhawks have sent 2 runners, but 2 runners on base, 2 caught stealing by Resto.
That one tapped foul on the first base side.
Frankie has a pretty good arm back there, just has struggled a little bit defensively this year. He has 15 passed balls on the year. Last year, he only had around 6, I think it was, had none in conference play.
You say 16 passed balls. That's not a bad number, but with Resto, when you're used to seeing him a brick wall back there, it's not his best year, but still holding strong as Banks racks up his 6th strikeout of the morning. And we'll head to the bottom of the 4th, still scoreless. We can see if the Bulldogs can score here. We'll be right back on ACTV. Heavy hitting first baseman Hunter Hayes up to the plate now. Still scoreless in the bottom of inning number 4. Tunstall gets back to work. Hayes grounded out to the 3rd baseman his first time up today. First pitch. Just below the knees, 1-0.
Hayes, the MIAA position player of the year. He's hitting .358 coming into today. 56 runs batted in, 42 runs scored.
He tries to lay down a bunt. It'll be a foul ball for strike 1. Little sneaky right there.
Not often you see a cleanup hitter trying to lay down a bunt, but trick it over at 3rd, playing deep, still playing deep at 3rd. About 5 to 6 steps in from the outfield turf.
1-1 from Tunstall. Ball high, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Hayes also has 17 doubles, 4 triples, and 8 home runs.
Definitely going to be missed. A transfer from Jackson. Only played 2 years here, but boy, did he make an impact in that short amount of time.
A local product, too. Went to Adrian High School just down the road from the Adrian College campus. Graduated in 2013 as his class's valedictorian.
He's up in the count, 3-1. The pitch swings through that one. 3 balls and 2 strikes now on Hayes. Tunstall will step off. Bulldog dugout starting to come alive here in this middle part of the game.
Well, they've had a runner aboard each inning so far, but unable to get that hit that'll drive them in.
Hayes had still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch in the dirt. And Hayes is aboard with the leadoff walk. You heard it there. Darnell ground out to the second baseman to lead off the second inning. Had some good swings in that Thursday game. First pitch from Tunstall. Ball high, 1-0.
Darnell hitting .371 on the year, 18 RBI, 21 runs scored. Third baseman playing in, only has 1 sack bunt on the year.
1-0. Finds the bottom of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1. Ball high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, Darnell missed a good chunk of the season, that latter part of league play after being injured on a play in their series versus Olivet. He came back right before the tournament and has been making an impact since then. Was one of the key players in that MIAA championship run. Hayes off for second base, and Roebuck will hold on to it. Give Hayes a swipe of second.
A nice read by Hayes. Not a single pickoff throw with the pitcher Tunstall on the mound, and a kind of a long timed leg kick. He doesn't really get the ball to the plate too quick. And after seeing 3 pitches, he decided it was time to go.
And Coach Rowe going to have a quick visit at the mound. 4th inning, still scoreless with a man on second and nobody out. What do you think they're talking about?
Well, they've been in this position already once today. No, the Croce double, that was with 1 out. This time they have a man on second with no outs. But probably just telling him to settle down, try to get this batter here. Coach Rowe has been at the helm of this Red Hawk program since 2006. He took over at the age of 23. If you can imagine that, a 305, 170 record coming into this season. He was a recipient of the 2015 Chuck Tanner College Coach of the Year. He's put together a great program as Darnell skies a pop-up on the infield. Trickett calling for it and will make the catch right in front of the mound for out number 1. Just imagine that, Robbie. 23 years old when he took over this program. You and I are 22, so that'd be like us stepping into the Bulldogs dugout right now and taking over, which is something that I couldn't even fathom.
I think it's safe to say that if I was put in that position, the Bulldogs would probably end their string of winning seasons. Well, that's a lie. They'd have all the recruitment from Coach Rainey, so give them 4 or 5 seasons before things would start to tank.
Giving yourself a lot of credit there.
There's a reason I'm up in the booth and not on the field. It's because I'm a high school but not college. 1-0 is the count on Jason Croce. That fastball from Tunstall misses. 2 balls in, no strikes. Croce doubled his first time up down the third base line. A late addition to the starting lineup. As we said, Tommy Parsons got the honorary nod in a move of strategy. I don't even think he made it to the brown turf before Rainey sent him packing his bags.
He fooled me for a bit. I knew that they were going to pinch hit for him. It was just a strategy mood, but he walked up to the plate like he was ready to dig in.
Taking some big cuts on the on-deck paw before the inning. Well, last night when we were scheduled to play this game at about 9:30, And Coach Rainey announced that Parsons would have the designated hitter spot. Sent quite a rumble through the press box. Roche swings through that curveball, 2-2.
You can hear Coach Rainey telling Croce to work right field. Tunstall really working that outer part of the plate. Besides Gunnar Rainey, we really haven't seen a Bulldog hitter try to use that opposite field.
2-2 pitch from Tunstall. He sends it into right field, but that's going to be a high pop-up. Novak will make the catch. Hayes thought about tagging and going, but he'll hold that second. That'll bring up the right fielder, Tristan Richardson. Flew out to the opposite field his first time up. Tunstall again trying to leave a man on base, as he's put at least one on every inning. 3 hits for the Bulldogs so far. First pitch, a fastball high, 1-0. Wind starting to pick up, blowing across from right to left field.
Spina playing fairly shallow out in left field.
Well, he hit a fly ball out there last time, not very deep. But it's not just Spina, the center fielder, Urban, also playing fairly shallow.
Richardson here will just need to try to stay closed and drive that one the other way.
The 1-1. Fooled on the off speed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, there's a big hole on the right side with Qualero shaded up the middle with Hayes on second base. Bulldogs trying to get a run here. Hayes off for third. The 1-2. Down the line and foul.
He's a huge jump on that one. Richardson was able to put that one in fair territory. He easily would have scored. Tunstall will have to try to possibly keep him a little closer than that. Maybe give him a look here.
I say, usually going off with the swing. He was going off with the pitch right there and didn't even need to. A little bit of a dance. The 1-2. And he swings through that one. Tunstall again leaves a man on base. And LaRoche will head to the top of inning number 5, still scoreless. And we are seeing a pitching battle here in the winner's bracket. Game 8 of the NCAA Mideast Regional. And when we come back, we'll continue to see how this pans out as Pierce Banks looks to again stifle the Redhawks lineup. Keep it tuned right here to ACTV. Austin Hoffman digs in to lead things off. Top of inning number 5, still scoreless between Adrian College and Roche College. Both Banks and Tunston cruising through these lineups.
Banks right around 15 pitches an inning. That was his 60th of the ball game.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, something to keep an eye on is Banks usually runs into trouble in the 5th or 6th inning. And the way this game has been going, that happens to be the case. That might be what sinks the Bulldogs, as both lineups having trouble getting men in. Fly ball sent into left field, but routine for Gunnar Rainey. It's a quick out number 1.
And Tunstall, like we said, put a runner on base every inning. That time there was a runner on second with no outs, and again, he does a nice job of pitching out of a jam.
So I'll bring up the right fielder, Jay Novak, struck out to end the 2nd inning. The first pitch from Banks swings at that high and in fastball for strike 1. Did we get a flinch? The athletic director, Mike Duffy, with a flinch. First of the year. Put that one on the sheet. That one is fouled back to the back 40. 0-2 now on Novak. And not only is Mr. Duffy the athletic director, a former baseball coach here at Adrian College, and an umpire, and he is hearing it up in the press box.
No excuse for that one.
The 0-2. Fastball high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know, I wouldn't have even noticed if I didn't hear 3 people start yelling.
Must have been a big one over there.
It's like Laura's back in the dugout, or excuse me, in the press box. Another fly ball hitting to left field. This one a little deeper. Shearing and Rainey going back. In a great leaping catch by Gunnar Rainey for out number 2. Last second jump in the gap, and that is a highlight reel play there.
I don't know how close he was to the wall on that one, but from up here, it looks like at least for the moment, he kept this game scoreless, getting up and over the short wall and hauling that one in.
So 2 outs, and it's the first baseman, Jonathan Melendez, up to bat. It's Banks, a ball low and outside. We've seen some great catches out there by the outfield, especially the last 2 days. The Shenandoah outfielder, Henry Delaverne, made a sprawling out catch in the gap right where Rainey caught his. Torreno will fire that one to first for out number 3. Redhawks go down in short order once again, aided by the sparkling play by Gunnar Rainey. And they'll look to score a run right here as we head to the bottom of the 5th, still scoreless. Don't you swipe away from this Adrian Bulldogs channel, because we'll be right back with NCAA Regional Baseball here on ACTV. Bottom of the 5th inning here in game number 8. Still scoreless between Adrian and LaRoche. Tunstall and Banks going pitch for pitch. Only one hit surrender to LaRoche so far. 3 for the Bulldogs, but all base runners have been left stranded. And up now is the catcher Frankie Resto, who walked his first time up. The 1-0 pitch. Ball high, 2-0. (8-9-1) due up for Adrian. Resto sends that one into right center. Novak a few steps towards the middle and will make the catch for out number 1. I'll bring up the shortstop, Jordan Torreno. 0 for 1 so far. Grounded out to second base to end the second. That was the biggest threat that the Red Hawks face with 2 runners on. First pitch, shows bunt, pulls back. Ball 1.
LaRoche featuring a different uniform than we've seen from any team in this Mideast Regional, going with the all-black look. And something that we noticed, you look at the front of their jersey, kind of looks like a football jersey, as Adrian assistant SID Corey Graham stated, with the big number right on the front of their chest. All of them sporting the high socks as well, except for the second baseman, Qualero. You know, Robbie, I'm not a big fan of black baseball pants on the diamond, but the more I go into this game, the more I'm digging the Red Hawks unis.
I was going to say the exact same thing. LaRoche making it work. They're really fresh. See if this is the direction future baseball uniforms go, as Torreno swings at that one. Almost thrown away by Roebuck, but it's out number 2.
The Arizona Diamondbacks in the National League uniforms somewhat similar to this. They have the big numbers. They have a little bit of a darker gray than what you're accustomed on their road unis. I know there was a lot of pushback from a lot of traditionalist fans saying that it wasn't a great look, but I think in the last couple years, as they have continued to wear those threads, people have come to embrace it. And actually, we've seen some college teams kind of going in that direction. Of course, LaRoche right here kind of resembling that look.
A bold statement is what they're making, and it's working out for them.
Speaking of bold statement, did you see what the Queen wore to her grandson's wedding today?
I believe you said a pink power suit.
It wasn't pink. It was a greenish yellow. It was very bright, easy for people to see. She definitely stood out, kind of stole the show, I think. Or not the reception. The ceremony was quite beautiful. Started at 7 Eastern time. That's when I woke up today. Wasn't able to catch the ceremony, but we did see the processional, the carriage, and all of that pageantry, and I'm sure that the reception is just a hoot right now.
The 2-1 to Sharing. That one sent out of play foul. 2-2. Well, we kind of knew it was happening, but Assistant SID Director Corey Graham kept us here half an hour extra last night because he would not stop talking about the royal wedding. Finally, we had to tell him that we had an early morning, we had to go, but he had quite a few things to say about it. 2-2 pitch to Sharing. Ground ball over to third. Trickett has it. And a 1-2-3 inning for the Red Hawks as Tunstall continues to cruise. And we head to the top of the 6th, still scoreless. We'll be back with more on ACTV. Still scoreless as we head to the middle innings of the ball game, top of the 6th. It's become quite the pitching battle between Pierce Banks and Nick Tunstall. Tit for tat, both of them, besides a few base runners, cruising so far. First pitch ball in the turf to the center fielder, Dylan Urban, who flew out to Zach Schering his first time up.
Up to this point, Banks has only faced one batter over the minimum.
And that one fouled back into the parking lot. I just heard a bus pull up, so hopefully no dents in that.
All of these teams driving and riding the bus to this Mideast Regional. For La Roche, it's a 4-hour, 14-minute drive from their campus. And Adrian, perhaps the most dreadful, they have exactly 0 hours and 0 minutes to get to their campus in this location for the Mideast Regional.
Well, it's about a 2-minute drive from the dorms to the field as Urban fouls that one off the shin, and he is in some pain. We'll let him walk that off. As we said, Nicolay Field's nickname is the Bounce House. It seems like when balls hit the turf, they have a tendency to take off.
Well, we've seen a few pounded right into the ground, as we've mentioned earlier. Banks has some running action on his fastball. So Urban just gets on top of that one, puts it right into the ground. Looks like he's going to be okay, but it'll definitely stiffen up as the day goes on.
Gets a cheer from the crowd as he steps back in the box. 2-2 count. Pitch from Pierce Banks. Curveball, that one's hit towards the shortstop. Torreno, nice sliding dive. Bang, bang play at first, but they got him. Another highlight reel play for the Bulldogs.
That's the second time today we've seen Torreno with the range up the middle. First one couldn't get the throw off. He was given an error on that play, but this time a throw right into the chest of Hunter Hayes. And that's back-to-back innings now that we've seen sparkling gems by the Bulldog defense.
That brings up the third baseman, Elmo Trickett. Reached on an error by Torreno his first time up. Pierce, straight gas for strike one. Big swing and a miss there by Trickett. And it's 0-2 now.
That's two late swings by Trickett on two straight fastballs by Banks. Up in the count. See if they want to go fastball. A couple shakes by Banks. In a third, they settle on a pitch. We'll see what it is.
The 0-2. Goes with the high cheddar, but the trap snaps shut for out number 2.
A good call there by Banks, going with the high fastball after seeing the Red Hawks third baseman late on his first two swings. Never want to speed up their bat, especially when you see that from a hitter. 7th strikeout now on the day for Banks.
That'll take us back to the top of the La Roche lineup. So left fielder Jonathan Spina steps in for his third at-bat. 0 for 2 so far. And a curveball just out of the strike zone for ball one. Another big cut there. 1-1. La Roche not being cheated. Some healthy swings these last couple of innings. And the 1-1 pitch. That one back up the box. It's a 2-out single for the leadoff man, Jonathan Spina.
Only the second hit of the day so far for the Red Hawks.
I'll bring up the designated hitter, Joe Professori. 0 for 1, struck out his first time, walked back in the fourth before being thrown out at second base. Down the count 0-1.
Professori extends his on-base streak to 45 games. If you're doing the math at home, yes, that is every single game so far this season that the Roche designated hitter has reached safely.
Quite the impressive feat. She's been on base once today, looking to do it once more. The 0-1. Puts a charge into that one. Had the distance, but is well foul.
And you got to think, too, what makes it even more impressive is that he has played every single game so far for La Roche this season. So it's not as if he's taken a few days off. He's been in the lineup every day and has produced every single day, which is an admirable feat.
The 0-2, curveball just a little bit high, 1-2. And only a junior, so the Redhawks hold on to him for one more year. The 1-2 from Banks, another curveball high, throw it on to second from Resto. And make it 3 for 3 on the day as Jonathan Spina gunned down at second to end the inning.
Perfect throw by Resto. Bulldogs might have gotten lucky there. Would a late break to the bag. Might have been a little bit of communication on who was supposed to cover, but he gets there in time. And like Robbie said, third runner caught stealing by Resto.
Have yourself a day, Frankie, as we head to the bottom of the sixth, still 0-0. And we'll see if the Bulldogs can put the first run on the board this morning. We'll be right back here on ACTV. Leading off for the Bulldogs is the left fielder Gunnar Rainey. Still 0-0 as the Redhawks base runner Jonathan Spina gunned down at second to end the inning. And the ground ball to the shortstop under the glove of Hoffman. Rainey now 3 for 3 on the day, and the leadoff man is aboard. I'll bring up the second baseman, Brady Wood. And with Resto's third stolen base foiled today, that is an Adrian College single game record. I'm having trouble getting my words out. He's nabbed 3 today. Again, that is an Adrian College single game record. So second record broken this year by Frank Resto. Also has the school career record for sacrifice bunts. And like you said, hadn't thrown out a lot of runners this year, but he just has the golden arm today.
And the key is, I think he's just been getting the ball down. Pierce Banks doing a lot of, or giving him a lot of help, getting the ball to the plate quickly. So he's had plenty of time, but I think all 3 throws have been right on the bag, and Torreno and Wood, whoever covers the bag for the 3. I think Torreno covered once, Wood twice, but all they have to do is just put their glove right there, throw right on the money, and these LaRoche base runners just sliding right into the tag.
Went down the first base line by Wood. Tunstall has it, one play. And Brady Wood does his job. Man in scoring position now with 1 out. Well, regional baseball brings out the best in these players, and Frankie Resto definitely no exception.
It looks like they're going to give Hayes the free pass here, set up the force and try to get a double play. But Rainey's going to go as Tunstall forgot all about him, and Tunstall just struggling to keep runners at bay.
First base runner to reach third base today on either side of the diamond. And Adrian threatening to take the first lead. Two 2-0 now on Hunter Hayes as they continue with the intentional walk. Now keep an eye on it, because yesterday Otterbein had an intentional walk. It's never a sure thing, as a couple balls got to the backstop. LaRoche able to finish this one off. Runners on the corners now with 1 out. And Adrian has already grounded into 1 double play today. Tunstall and the Redhawks hoping to do that again.
Well, 1 out here, so if Darnell can get a fly ball deep enough, it will score Rainey. He's got speed.
Darnell 0 for 2 today so far. A ground out to the second baseman, also popped out to third.
The corner's drawn in. So if he can just hit a hard ball in the hole, really all he needs to do is keep the ball away from up the middle. And of course, try to put the ball in play. A strikeout here would not be good either.
Another pickoff move to first. Rainey very attentive down at third, making sure that that ball ends up in the mitt. Melendez.
Well, this game, kind of a unique one so far in this Mideast Regional. We've seen a lot of first and second inning runs with a lot of good offenses here. But we go in the bottom of the 6th, and there's still zeros on the board as Roebuck looks like he got maybe another turf chip in the eye.
He waves him off, says he's okay. 1-0 count on Dugan Darnell. Well, runs coming at a premium price this Saturday morning. Darnell trying to break the scoreless streak. 1-0 pitch. In the turf. 2 balls and no strikes. Nick Tunstall suddenly having trouble finding the zone. Two-0 pitch. Hits that bottom left corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Wind now blowing out to right field as the clouds and the front starting to move into Adrian. Bottom of the 6th, scoreless here. Time is called. 4 hits so far for the Bulldogs, 2 for LaRoche. Bulldogs also have an error in the game. Other than that, zeros across the board. 2-1 from Tunstall. Hayes off for second base in the turf. Roebuck will bluff, and now 2 in scoring position. 3-1 count on Dugan Darnell.
I was just going to say Tunstall will have to keep an eye on Hayes at first, but still not doing a great job of holding runners on. And you got to think they'll probably give Darnell a ball here. It's not going to be intentional, but I feel like they'd want to put him on base and try to set up the force.
Field drawn in. That one in the turf. Darnell draws the walk. And on this Saturday morning, Adrian now 4 waffles in the 3-way toaster. And Coach Rainey, a pinch hitter to the plate. It's number 18, Brian Guck, with a chance to be the master chef and make a continental breakfast. And it's just about brunch time, and I think these Adrian fans are hungry for one.
He got the start in the DH slot back in their first game, ended up getting a double in that contest. But he has a history of getting big hits in the NCAA tournament, had a big go-ahead triple last year in their first game of the regional. Right now trying to drive in the first run of the game for either side.
Only 1 out now. First pitch from Tunstall. Belt high, fastball, strike 1.
Tunstall still only a ground ball away from getting out of this. Looks like Hayes has to tie his shoe over there at second. Safety first.
Rainey on third base, Hayes on second, as you just said. Darnell on first after the walk. Melendez playing in on the turf. The fastball paints the outside corner. Guck in a hole now, 0-2. Bulldogs trying to turn the toaster on high and deliver this continental breakfast.
Guck choking up on that bat, just trying to get something in play. Maybe poke it over Melendez's head at first base. He's drawn in.
The 0-2 from Tunstall. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tunstall 93 pitches.
And another fastball misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tensions growing here at Nicolay Field. Both sides getting into it. As we're approaching the territory where the possible first run might be the deciding run. The 2-2 fouls out one to the back 40. Still 2-2. Guck, one of those hitters that when he swings, he does not get cheated. If he makes good contact here, it will be a huge blow to LaRoche. The 2-2 in the turf holds up, and it's a full count now on Brian Guck. 3-2 with the bases loaded.
And Nick Tunstall, 4 walks already on the day. None of them have come around. But if he gets his 5th here, the way this game going, it might be the deciding one.
Big pitch here. The 3-2 from Tunstall. That one sent into center field. Urban chasing it. It will be Novak that makes the catch. Rainey tagging. He will score. And it's a sacrifice fly for pinch hitter Brian Guck. Give the Bulldogs a 1-0 lead here in the 6th.
A great at-bat by Guck, quickly in the hole. And he just chokes up an excellent at-bat, trying to foul off a couple pitches, draws it full, and does what the Bulldogs have needed to do all day. Uses the other side of the field, hits it the other way, and hits it deep enough to score the first run of this ball game.
Runners on the corners now as Hayes tagged and moved to third. 2 outs, and that's the right fielder Tristan Richardson trying to drive in a couple more. Big swing there, 0-1. LaRoche trying to leave with minimal damage. The 0-1. Outside Black, 0-2. Should Richardson keep the inning going, that'd bring up the catcher Frank Resto. Offering from Tunstall. Just a bit outside. Darnell's going to swipe second uncontested. 2 men in scoring position now. And a 1-2 count on Richardson. Tunstall resetting on the mound. Gearing up for his 100th pitch of the ball game. And here it is, the 1-2. Chases the high cheddar, but the trap snaps shut for out number 3. But the Bulldogs load the bases and take the lead on the sacrifice fly by Brian Guck. And we head to the top of the 7th, 1-0 Adrian College. And we'll see how LaRoche responds when we come back here on ACTV. Top of the 7th inning, LaRoche now at a 1-0 deficit. That's the second baseman, Gino Qualero, up to bat, 0 for 2 so far. Ground out and a fly out as Banks gets back to work. First pitch. Fastball misses inside, 1-0.
Banks 93 pitches now in this early morning contest, which averages out to just a little under 14 pitches an inning. And on the first day in a press conference, the Shenandoah Hornets coach, Coach Kevin Anderson, said that for a 9-inning game, his starters pitch count, the sweet spot right around 126 pitches, because that means his thrower is averaging around 14. So Banks so far right in that sweet spot.
Excuse me, it's the designated hitter Joe Professori up to bat. Espina nabbed at second to end the top of the 6th. So he gets to restart his at-bat, and he's up now, 2 balls and 1 strike. Professori 0 for 1 with a strikeout, walked his last time up. We'll take a ball high, 3-1. Professori, one of the 3 base runners to be caught stealing today. The 3-1. Professori draws the walk. Not quite sure where it missed. I think it was a little bit inside. But nonetheless, the leadoff man is aboard for LaRoche.
Second walk of the day for Banks.
And now it's the second baseman, Gino Qualero, up to bat. Darnell drawn in against the bunt. And he shows, but will pull back for ball 1. Banks will now have to face the heart of the order. Valero, Roebuck, and Hoffman. Unless he finds a way to get a double play right here. A fastball pounded in there for strike one.
Valero, 4 sacrifice bunts on the season. Usually don't want your 3-hitter to bunt, but in a game like this, you just got to get something going, especially with Banks. I don't think he's had a runner on second yet.
You are correct right there, Cody. 5 base runners so far for LaRoche. None of them have advanced past first.
They've definitely tried. Instead of going with the bunt, they've tried to go with the stolen base, but have been nabbed 3 out of 3 times.
1-2 count on Qualero. The pitch. It's a curveball past a diving Darnell and into left field. And LaRoche something cooking now. 2 on with nobody out. Third hit of the day for the Redhawks.
They went with the off-speed pitch there on the 1-2 count. Just left it out a little too far over the plate. Would have liked it out probably off the plate there. Valero just does a nice job of staying back and ripping it right past Darnell.
The catcher Shane Roebuck up to bat now. 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. 1 looking, 1 swinging. RBI opportunity right here. First pitch fouled back into the net. No flinches on press row. The Roche dugout right back into this game. Top of the 7th, 1-0 Adrian College lead, and Frankie Resto calls time to talk with Banks.
We said earlier, Banks runs into trouble around the 5th or 6th inning. He cruised through those 2. But right now in his biggest jam of the day, 2 runners on only, well, not only, he has no outs.
He'll have to buckle down here. Up 0-1 on Roebuck. The 0-1. Ground ball foul down the third base line. 0-2. Shenandoah just arriving to the ballpark. They'll take on Ithaca in an elimination game following the conclusion of this one. They'll be right here on ACTV, as are all the games in this NCAA Mideast Regional. Oh, 2 to Roebuck in the turf, and Frankie can't block it. It goes all the way to the backstop. There are now 2 men in scoring position with nobody out. And LaRoche threatening here in the 7th.
Yeah, just a wild pitch there by Banks. Spikes it in front of the plate. Resto tries to get his body in front of it, but not much he can do there.
One and 2 is the count on Shane Roebuck. Infield playing back. Darnell even with the bag. The pitch in the turf again. Roebuck able to hold up, and the count's even at 2 apiece. Adrian backed themselves into a corner here, trying to get out of it. No double play in order unless they're able to tag one of the runners and go to first, the 2-2. And he rings him up looking. Beautiful curveball, paints that inside corner. There is now one down. Roche not happy with the call, but that will bring up the shortstop, Austin Hoffman. 1 for 2 so far, singled his first time up, flew out to left in the last inning.
That last pitch, a close one, kind of a late call by the home plate umpire, Lyle Travis. Go 2 strikes, you got to go up there protecting.
First pitch fastball, almost in the turf. It's 1-0. Professori on third base, Qualero on second. Time is called. Clouds continuing to move in here on Nicolay Field. Wind shift again, right field to left field. The 1-0. High pop-up on the infield. Torreno calling for it. And 2 down now. Runners will hold. Torreno made that one a little more difficult as the wind might have played a factor in that one. Adrian College and out away from escaping this jam.
Yeah, it looked like he was camped under it. At the last second, started wheeling backwards, had to reach behind him to snag that one. But lucky for Adrian College, it found its way into his glove.
Still 2 runners in scoring position. And Coach Rowe wants to have a quick conversation with Novak. 0 for 2 on the day, struck out in the second inning. Back in the 5th, a fly out, but put a charge into it, and it took a spectacular play by Gunnar Rainey to haul it in.
And if you look out there, Rainey playing deep out in left field. No doubles depth. Single to left field. He'll try to cut off the runner at second if he tries to go home, which he probably will with 2 outs.
First pitch up and in, and Novak has to hit the deck. Darnell was playing in, now playing back here with 2 outs.
I think they try to put down a bunt here.
I would not be surprised here in regional baseball. 100th pitch from Banks. Fastball high, 2 balls in, no strikes. Coach Rainey coming out for a mound visit. The Roche fans trying to get their team fired up. Cody, what do you think they're talking about out there?
I mean, 2-0 count, but 2 outs. He's 1 pitch away from getting out of this, and there's no action up in the Adrian bullpen, so this is his inning to finish.
Coach Rainey will leave the mound. 2 balls in, no strikes on Novak. A big at-bat here in the later part of the game. 1-0 Adrian College lead, but the Redhawks threatening with 2 in scoring position. Still working that first base side of the rubber. The 2-0 to Novak. Big cut there, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Definitely a no strike swing there, big cut.
Adrian lost a lead late in the game against Otterbein, able to rally back from that one. Trying to keep a hold on this one. Another big cut on the high cheddar. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Novak.
Yeah, he's pulled off on those last 2 swings. We'll have to shorten up here, just try to put the ball in play.
Just like Turnstall, big pitch here for Banks as time is called. Well, Banks and Tunstall almost mirror images of each other. Seems like when one pitcher cruises, the other one does. And when one finds himself in trouble, so does the other. The 2-2 from Banks. That one fouled back into the net. No flinches from the booth. Novak not going down without a fight. Looking for that 2-out RBI to tie the game. With a base hit here, probably take the lead. The 2-2. Fouls another one off. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Back-to-back 2-2 pitches where they tried to go top of the zone with a fastball. Novak just able to get a piece of it.
Well, should he keep the inning alive, that would bring up the first baseman, Jonathan Melendez. Lurking on that on-deck paw.
Runner on third base. If they want to go with the curveball down, Resto will have to do his best to block it.
And a big swing there. Goes after the high cheddar, but the trap snaps shut for out number 3. Roche puts 2 in scoring position with nobody out. And Pierce Banks and the Bulldogs leave them both stranded. 7th inning stretch time here in game number 8. 1-0 Adrian College lead. And we'll stretch up here in the bullpen. It's been an early day. Or in the bullpen, excuse me, in the press box. But we'll get our stretch on. Try to wake up even a little bit more. Make sure you refresh your coffee. Maybe get some waffles, as it is brunch time here on this Saturday morning. We'll be right back here on ACTV. We finished our stretch up here in the press box. I hope you refreshed your coffee at home as we get set for the bottom of inning number 7. 1-0 Adrian College lead. Tunstall back out for another inning of work. Their first pitch ball to the catcher Frankie Resto. 8-9-1 due up for the Bulldogs. The 1-0. Hard hit into the glove of a diving Trickett. And another highlight reel play for out number 1.
Resto just gets around that one and looked like a double off the bat, but Trickett about 3 steps to his backhand and a complete layout. And the second web gem we've seen so far in this game.
That brings up the number 9 hitter, Jordan Torrento, 0 for 2 so far, ground out and a strikeout. The first pitch from Tunstall shows bunt, fouls it into the mitt for strike 1. Roche threatened back in the top of the 7th, but couldn't bring anybody in. So the pitching battle ensues between Tunstall and Banks. Count 1-1 on Jordan Torrento. Here's the pitch. That one fouled into the netting. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. The 1-2. Another foul ball into the netting. Count stays the same.
Well, no runs on 3 hits for the Red Hawks so far. 1 run on 4 hits for the Bulldogs. Also made 1 error, but fortunately for them, it did not turn into a LaRoche run.
Pitch from Tunstall. High fly ball into left field. Spina giving chase. And a nice running catch back towards the wall for out number 2.
A little bit of carry on that fly ball off the bat of Torrento.
The wind still blowing from right to left field. We've seen it affect a couple balls so far. Back to the top of the Bulldog lineup. It's center fielder Zach Schering. 0 for 3 so far, a strikeout, 2 groundouts to the third baseman. First pitch from Nick Tunstall. Paints the outer black for strike 1. One hangs just a bit high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Shenandoah starting to get warmed up over on the third base side by the Frank and Shirley Dick hitting facility. They'll take on Ithaca next in the first elimination game of Saturday. 1-1. Big cut there by Schering. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Shenandoah dropped last night's game to Worcester. Put them back in the elimination bracket. Meanwhile, Ithaca lift to see another day after a walk-off win against Otterbein. And an odd play. A slip by the shortstop caused a walk-off infield single and an unfortunate end to the Cardinals' run. Two balls and 2 strikes on Zach Schering. The pitch. Fly ball into left field. Spina going back to the wall. Turned around, but will haul it in for out number 3. Bulldogs go down in short order. And we'll head to the top of the 8th inning. Roche running out of runs. We'll see if they can make a comeback here, and we'll be right back on ACTV. Top of inning number 8 here in game number 8. The Mideast Regionals. Adrian holding on to a 1-0 lead over the La Roche Redhawks. First baseman Jonathan Melendez trying to start a rally for his team. First pitch, a strike at the knees, 0-1, and Banks continuing to fire strikes. Into a bit of trouble back in the top of the 7th. 2 men in scoring position with no outs, able to work out of it. La Roche, 6 outs to play with now.
Pierce 107 pitches so far. A couple bodies out in the Adrian bullpen, but nobody throwing just yet. As Banks was cruising through the first 6 innings, as Robbie said, ran into a little bit of trouble back in the last inning. A wild pitch sent runners to second and third, but able to get a strikeout, a pop out, and then another strikeout. He's at 9 strikeouts actually on the day.
A foul ball by Melendez makes the count 2-2. Well, after Melendez, it will be Urban and Trickett. Those are the batters guaranteed at bats. After that, we'll head back to the top of the La Roche lineup. The 2-2. Curveball sent into left field, down the line for a base hit. Melendez takes the turn, headed for second. And he is in with a leadoff double. Second inning in a row where the Redhawks put a man in scoring position. And once again, Adrian will have to work out of a jam. 4th hit of the day so far for the Redhawks. That equals Adrian's tally. Center fielder Dylan Urban up to the plate now. 0 for 2 so far. Flew out his first at bat, grounded out back in inning number 6. The Roche crowd starting to come back to life. Corners drawn in for Adrian. First pitch, fastball high, 1-0.
Looks like they've got somebody throwing in the bullpen now. Banks only 2 walks on the day, but his control not quite where it was. Maybe getting a little tired out there, leaving more pitches over the heart of the plate. Melendez smoking that one into left field.
Well, it's a 1-1 count on Dylan Urban.
Bulldogs did not use anybody in their first game versus Otterbein. Parsons went the complete game. So they've got fresh arms down there to pick from.
Well, in game number 2 of the MIAA tournament, we saw number 3 starter Jordan Williams come in for a 6-out save. And we'll see if he does that here as Urban gets hit by the pitch. The Redhawks have runners on first and second, nobody out.
It's another curveball that doesn't quite catch the black. And Banks again in another no-out jam.
The third baseman Elmo Trickett up to bat. Reached on an error his first time up, struck out last time. He's looking to continue this La Roche rally.
Neither Wood or Torrento really guarding Novak over at second base. We've seen the Bulldogs take advantage of that. Rainey ended up swiping third base when Tunstall forgot about him. That's how he eventually came across to score, so they'll have to be careful.
Shows bunt, pulls back at another up and in fastball, 1-0 on Trickett. Corner still drawn in for the Bulldogs. Pitch from Banks. A bunt right back to the mound. Fires to third, and they get the lead man. Nice heads up play by Banks. And there's now one down, still runners on first and second.
Wasn't the best bunt by Trickett, but one that looked like it was going to get the job done. Banks just fires a strike in there, knew that he was going to square, pounces off the mound quickly. And a nice little pirouette throw to third base, and Dogs again a double play from getting out of this.
Back to the top of the Roche lineup, left fielder Jonathan Spina up to the plate. 1 for 3, singled his last time up. And he sends a fly ball into center field. Schering running in on it, will make the running catch. And he's gonna throw on the first, double play. As Trickett was off, did not think that was gonna be in the mitt. And the Bulldogs unbelievably catch a huge break there on the base running blunder. And we head to the top of inning number 8, still a 1-0 Adrian College lead. And we'll be right back with more NCAA regional baseball on ACTV. Bottom of inning number 8 here in game number 8. Bulldogs trying to tack on some insurance runs. They hold on to a 1-0 lead over the Redhawks. In a couple of defensive changes. Now on the mound is Jake Seymour, trying to shut down this lineup. And sharing a first pitch ground ball to the new third baseman, Hurt. Throwing to first, quick out number 1.
With Seymour, 20 appearances on the year. He's got a 3-1 record in 39 1/3 innings pitched. He has 31 strikeouts, 12 walks, and a 2.29 ERA.
He'll have to face the Bulldogs' number 3 hitter, Brady Wood. Bluffs a bunt, but will pull back. Like we said, new third baseman Christian Hurt now at third. Trickett pulled from the game after a bit of a base running blunder. Took off for second on the line drive, caught by Schering. and was easily doubled off of first to end the inning.
You know, up in the booth, I thought it was going to get down off the bat of Spina, but we saw Schering already today run a ball down in the gap. And it was, Urban on second. He read it right. He went right back to the bag, but Trickett all the way to second by the time he realized where Schering was, and Schering caught that fairly shallow, and he hit Hayes in with a perfect throw. So a very tough break for LaRoche right there.
2 down now after the fly ball out by Brady Wood. It's the first baseman Hunter Hayes now up to bat. Intentional walk his last time up. He has 2 walks on the day. Also stole a base. He's down in the count 0-1. Pitch from Seymour. Breaking ball just misses. 1 ball and 1 strike as he's working from a much quicker pace than the starter, Nick Tunstall. 1-1. Fooled on that curveball. 1-2 now.
In the bullpen, it looks like the Bulldogs are going to go with lefty Mo Hanley to try to close out this 1-run game, unless they want to go with Banks again, but Banks' pitch count is getting up there. He's at 116 so far for the game, 73 strikes.
Coach Rainey has not gone to his bullpen yet, so he definitely has options as that pitch from Seymour misses inside. 2 balls in, 2 strikes now. Should he keep the inning alive? That'd bring up the third baseman, Dugan Darnell. 2-2 offering. That one's hit into the left center gap. Spina giving chase. That's going to fall and go to the wall. Hayes makes the turn. And it is an automatic double as that one managed to hop over. Bulldogs, a 2-out RBI opportunity. It's the third baseman, Dugan Darnell, up to bat.
Well, Hayes finally able to stay back on one. We've seen him out in front seemingly every at-bat so far today. But right there, able to take that pitch left over the heart of the plate and just split the gap.
Darnell 0 for 2 today so far. Ground out, pop out, walk. Trying to buff this Adrian lead. It's 0-1. Pitch from Seymour. It's a fly ball in the left field, easily playable. And Spina will haul it in for out number 3. So the Bulldogs get a double with 2 outs, but leave him stranded. And it's time to pay the piper if you're LaRoche. Down by 1, heading into the final inning scheduled. And do you think they can make the comeback? We'll find out next on ACTV. Jordan Williams coming in to pitch. He'll try to shut down this Roche lineup as Adrian clings to a 1-0 lead here in the top of the 9th. Winner takes a 2-0 record into the next round of the tournament. Loser faces elimination as they'll have one more loss to play with. And it's 2-3-4 due up for the Red Hawks, starting with the designated hitter, Joe Professori. And the first pitch from Williams. Fastball misses inside, 1-0.
Well, Williams is the Bulldogs' number 3 starter, but we have seen Coach Rainey go to him to grab the save. He has 2 on the season, including 1 back in the MIAA tournament. He has 63 strikeouts and 25 walks and 65 2/3 innings pitched. Also has an undefeated 8-0 record with a 2.19 ERA.
Professori up in the count, 2-0. The pitch fires gas at the knees, 2-1. That one foul to the back 40. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Professori will call time. Two pitch from Williams. Ball high, 3-2.
Well, Williams had some control issues in his last 2 starts. 5 walks in his outing against Hope College in the MIAA title game. Definitely don't want to see him put anybody on base with the free pass.
And he'll put that one up the middle. Wood ranges, a long throw and a diving play at first by Professori to get in there with an infield leadoff single.
An outside pitch that Professori just taps right back up the box, and Wood a nice stop, but his weight going away from first base, a tough throw, and just couldn't get it off in time.
Once again, the Red Hawks threatening, down by 1 here in the top of the 9th. Williams now has to face the heart of the order. Gino Qualero up to bat, singled his last time up. First pitch shows bunt down the third base line. Darnell will have it, go with the easy throw. Slipped a little bit right there, but there's now 1 out, tying run on second now. And striding up to the plate is Shane Roebuck. 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. Looking for his first hit of the ball game, and boy, would it be big right now. And time is called. Corners playing deep for Adrian. Trying to keep that ball on the infield. First pitch, a strike at the knees, 0-1. Williams gets the sign from Frankie Resto. The 0-1 pitch, just a bit outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Wood shaded over towards second. Big hole there on the right side. Roebuck can sneak it through there with the ground ball. Professori may be able to knot things up.
Well, he's shading back over now. The 1-1, a big cut there. Fooled him with off speed, and it's now 1-2 on Shane Roebuck. Well, would you expect anything else in game number 8 of the NCAA regional tournament?
With the way it's gone so far, I would not. And we'll see if Williams wants to go off speed again. If he does, he'll have to get it down. Resto will have to block it.
The 1-2. Off speed, but it hangs out of the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. The 2-2 pitch. It's that one off of the glove of Darnell on the dive. And a tough break for the Bulldogs. Runners on the corners now with 1 out, but more importantly, tying run 90 feet away for LaRoche.
That'll probably go as a hit. Roebuck roped that, and it looked as for a second Darnell had that one in his glove, but it just pops out. Luckily, Professori had to freeze on that line drive, so he only gets to third. Double play still in order, but a base hit here, and it'll be a new ball game.
Well, it's the shortstop, Austin Hoffman, out now. 1 for 3, singled his first time up, a fly out and a pop out since then. Darnell in on the bag. Double play could end at first pitch. Fastball at the knees for strike 1.
And we'll see how LaRoche wants to attack with the base running here. If they want to try to send Roebuck, see if the throw goes through and maybe Professori can sneak across a run or just have him stay put.
Swings at that outside gas. 0-2 now on Hoffman.
Well, he'll be protecting here. Don't want to see the game end on a strike him out, throw him out.
Well, LaRoche has threatened the last 3 innings. So far 0 for 2 on the payout. 0-2 pitch. Fastball high, 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Austin Hoffman. Wind shifting again, now blowing straight out to right field. The pitch. Ground ball over to second. He'll flip to for 1. Relay. And out at first. Bulldogs hang on for a 1-0 victory. And they will continue on to the winner's bracket.
Slow roller to Wood off the bat. I wasn't sure they were going to get it. Torreno puts the relay in the dirt, but an excellent pick by Hayes. And Robbie, I think probably one of the top 2 games that we've seen in this regional to start Saturday.
Well, we said it the whole game, a pitching duel between Banks and Tunstall runs a premium. And the Bulldogs able to squeak one in the bottom of inning number 6. That's all they would need. And a gutsy performance by both. LaRoche just unable to get a run in today. But you can't say that they didn't try.
No, it ultimately came down to Tunstall's inability to keep runners where they were. kind of a long delivery in terms of time, that high leg kick. Rainey on second back in the 6th inning. He read it. Hayes had done it earlier, but he ended up stealing third, no outs. Just completely changed the face of that bottom half of the inning. He came across to score, and Adrian moves on to play Worcester. And Roche, now with the loss, will have to fight to keep their season alive.
Great, great game. As I said again, congratulations to both teams as they put on a heck of a show here early on this Saturday morning. Adrian, who went 1-2 in last year's tournament, now holds on to a 2-0 record, but it only gets tougher from here. They move on to play the #1 seed Worcester. That game will be today at around 6 o'clock, the final today. Meanwhile, La Roche moves into the elimination bracket. They will play Wabash in game number 10. That will take place around 3:30 or at the conclusion of the next game, which happens to be Ithaca versus Shenandoah, also an elimination game. That's going to happen about 30 minutes from now, taking place on ACTV. So we'll get all of that ready, kind of calm down for this gutsy performance. And once again, Adrian takes the game 1-0 in this NCAA regional winners bracket. And until next time, this has been Robbie Alexander with my colleague Cody Alexander. And we'll see you later this afternoon. Always keep it tuned right here to ACTV.